Corey Woods was elected mayor of the city of Tempe in March 2020. In his professional career, he is the chief of staff at ASU Preparatory Academy. Woods is responsible for assisting the managing director with operations, external partnerships, and strategic initiatives. He previously served as the chief operating officer for the Greater Phoenix Urban League, director of college and career articulation for the Phoenix Union High School District, and director of government relations for the American Lung Association of Arizona. His personal commitment to community service extends to board memberships for many organizations, including the Newtown Community Development Corporation, Friendship Village, and Landings Credit Union. Woods is also an emeritus board member of Equality Arizona, active member and past president of the Kiwanis Club of Tempe, former board chair for Children's Action Alliance, and former two-term board president of the Tempe Boys and Girls Club, Ladmo Branch. Woods served as council member for the city of Tempe from July 2008 to July 2016. He was elected to the Tempe City Council in May of 2008 and re-elected in March 2012. Woods was instrumental in guiding city policy that led to Tempe's perfect score in the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index. He championed initiatives in the areas of affordable housing and human services while working tirelessly to improve community development standards to attract business investment and protect our neighborhoods. Woods graduated from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor in April of 2000 with a BA in political science and a minor in African American studies. After college, Woods was a teaching assistant at ASU for 3 years. In May 2018, Woods earned a Master of Arts in Educational Policy from ASU's Mary Lou Fulton College of Education. So the mayor's a really busy guy, as you can tell. So let's get this year's State of the City started.
Time to get your sweat on, Corey. We know you're the mayor of City of Tempe, but it's important for you to take time to clear your mind. Time to show up for yourself.
Hey, Mayor, follow me. See what's going on at ASU.
I'm coming, Councilmember QB. I'm right behind you. Wait up!
Come on, Mayor, keep up. Let's go, Slowpoke.
Hey, Mayor, ready for a cleaning?
Oh, no thanks, Councilmember Adams. Just had my checkup.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey, Vice Mayor Keating.
You know, say what you want about Mayor Woods. The man clearly doesn't skip leg day. Hey, Mayor. Is that you?
Looking good, Councilmember Navarro. Stay safe out there.
Hey, Mayor, you got this. You need a snack?
I'm good, Councilmember Arredondo Savage. I'll just get some at State of the City. What a ride. There's a lot of stuff going on in this dynamic city. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Tempe State of the City. I'm so grateful for the Tempe Chamber of Commerce and our presenting sponsor, Edward Jones, for helping to make this breakfast possible. I also want to take a moment to thank our doctors, scientists, and healthcare professionals who have done an outstanding job throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. You are one of the main reasons why we're all able to be here today, celebrating this year's State of the City right here in the beautiful Tempe Buttes Hotel. The last 16 months have ignited a larger conversation about what we as a state, city, and nation do well, and also what practices we might want to improve. As mayor, I've taken all of those conversations to heart. During this time of reflection, I've come to appreciate viewing our city through the lens of health, and not just the how many COVID cases per resident kind of health, although that is important. What I'm talking about, though, is our overall health and well-being. In Tempe, we care about all of our residents' abilities to provide for themselves and their families. Along with your professional careers, we want our neighbors to be able to focus on their mental health with access to parks, open space, and perhaps most importantly, connections to friends, family, and community. Well, turns out there are a lot of people, a lot smarter than me, in our world thinking about the same exact thing. The conditions and the environments where people are born, live, learn, work, play, worship, and age can affect a wide range of outcomes in an individual's life. And cities can have a huge impact on many of these factors. Some people may think that is an incredibly daunting responsibility, but I can tell you that me and my council colleagues fully embrace it. This morning, we're going to show you the ways that the city of Tempe is working with the business community, nonprofit partners, and our educational institutions to positively impact the physical, economic, and social factors that impact our residents' health and well-being. So to kick things off, I'm going to call up my good friend, Councilmember Doreen Garland, who's really going to go ahead and get this party started. Councilmember Garland.
The city of Tempe is investing, and we know you are too. Developers, designers, architects, we look to you as partners on reaching our goals. Winston Churchill said it best when he said, "We shape our buildings, therefore they shape us." The Tempe streetcar is a prime example of this. Businesses and developers understood our vision to diversify transportation options that meet the needs of our unique population. And jointly, we are making the streetcar a reality. Transportation affects many aspects of individuals' health and well-being, from accessing health care and services and healthy food options to maintaining social connections. Here's a little bit more about how the city is taking the wheel on accessible and convenient transportation. The mayor is right. When we think about what contributes to a healthy community, we have to think about the environment we are in and how that shapes our behavior. We know that investments we make now will determine the success of our community 20, 30, 40 years from now. The Tempe City Council believes that good transportation, networks, walkable cities, convenient and accessible transit options, and connectivity are key pillars for a healthy community. And it is no secret that traffic congestion can impact the quality of life. And Tempe expects to see more traffic volume in the future. But with that being said, we are making headway on testing different approaches aimed at creating sustainable solutions for the city's transportation network. So what is it we're doing? Maricopa Association of Governments awarded us a grant to start preparing implementation plans for a transportation demand management program and mobility hubs. Transportation demand management programs provide residents, employees, and visitors with information and incentives to use alternative transportation modes rather than driving alone. And mobility hubs allow people to connect to multiple modes of transportation to make their trip as safe, convenient, and reliable as possible. When you think about mobility hubs, think no further than Cul-de-sac Tempe, the first no-car housing development in the nation. If you have not heard already, Cul-de-sac Tempe is designed for walkability. And they believe that how you move defines how you live. They are a great example of what Mobility Hub should be. Located on the light rail, their tenants will receive fare passes in addition to discounted lift rides and envoy rentals and accessibility to on-site bird scooters. cul-de-sac and their incredible partners further prove there is a fundamental shift on how a city can build communities that enhance quality of life while also achieving goals like reducing carbon emissions. And while Tempe is pretty well known for the light rail and streetcar coming online in 2022, we are also making a name for ourselves when it comes to electrification. We are continuing to explore electric bus technology. On top of that, we are working with the business community through the Tempe Chamber of Commerce to better understand EV charging needs and demand. The City of Tempe will continue to invest in the infrastructure that, by design, provides greater opportunity for our residents' well-being.
Thank you. Good morning. Tempe's transportation system connects people to their jobs, grocery stores, housing, and when done right, getting around in our 20-minute city can also lower our city's carbon footprint. Transportation accounts for half of Tempe's carbon emissions, and we're acting and strategizing to mitigate these emissions. The United Nations reports that cities are responsible for 70% of carbon emissions worldwide. That means we have the opportunity to be 70% of the solution as well. Tempe's Climate Action Plan is bringing a diverse and inclusive approach to adapting and mitigating to the consequences of climate change, such as mega drought, extreme heat, and we are also building capacity to unforeseen threats, or in other words, we're becoming more resilient as a city. As COVID-19 has shown, public health disruptions lead to cascading effects on economic and social health, revealing and exacerbating inequities throughout our interacting systems. But with crisis, another Winston Churchill quote, comes opportunity, and we can model resiliency and provide sorely needed aid to local businesses and residents as we strive towards social, economic, environment, and racial justice. As vital members of this community, we thank you for your compassion and energy as we join together in these efforts. And I'm so proud that Ani Shakurji, a former council member, she led the way, and I'm so proud of the work that you did, Ani, and let us continue in those efforts. Thank you. From playing less outdoor sports in the summer months to naturally taking the more shaded pathway, the environment we experience impacts our behavior. In the coming years, we can expect to see hotter temperatures affect tourism, our economy, and further threaten the elderly, children, and frontline communities. This threat means that Tempe needs to be committed to action and to co-creating solutions with residents and businesses that are likely to be hit first and worst by extreme heat. Tempe, with the help of community partners and social justice organizations, are bringing together a diversity of perspectives to determine exactly what designs and programs will best shape our environment and therefore our future actions. It's our hope that these actions will result in reduced carbon emissions and a city more resilient to the challenges of climate change. While the Tempe City Council adopted the Valley's Climate Action Plan in 2019, we've learned some things in the last 3 years and are now working on our first Climate Action Update. This update brings our community voices front and center as we look for ideas and recommendations to ensure a plan that reflects our culture and our values. From young people to our indigenous populations and local business advocates, we are engaging all these stakeholders for a curated, robust plan. For example, our youth aren't just being asked to get involved in the Climate Action Plan update. Our project, Cool Kids, Cool Places, Cool Futures, aims to organize students to take action on climate mitigation and adaptation. This opportunity shifts power from my generation and gives voice to the next generation of Tempe leaders. I'm so eager to see what cool, creative, artistic concepts our young people have in mind. And speaking of cool design, our neighbor ASU has been a model for green building design and incorporating sustainability in everything they do. A new partnership funded by the National Endowment for the Arts allows Tempe to partner with ASU's Indigenous Design Collaborative and our 3 tribal communities, bringing Indigenous communities to the forefront of city planning and designing the future of Tempe. With this partnership, we are leading the way for Indigenous voices and perspectives to improve municipal design and development. So we are deeply embedded in planning for a better future for our community. But there are actions that need to be taken right now. This summer was a doozy for our state and region. We experienced intense wildfires throughout the Southwest, power outages in Texas, and flooding, all in the context of a global pandemic. A healthy city is a resilient city, one that can protect its most vulnerable from bearing the brunt of climate change. The City of Tempe is refurbishing an existing building that will become the new Envision Center and Resilient Energy Hub. This facility will provide community support for health and human services and serve as a community emergency response center during extreme weather. We're installing new LED lighting, new air conditioning, and we're looking at options for solar carports with battery storage to assist with emergency preparedness. If cities represent 70% of carbon emissions, then we must be at the forefront of creating a clean energy economy. To address the enormous challenges of our time, we must call forward all of our expertise, entrepreneurial spirit, and community wisdom. And so, Tempe's joined with universities, industry, government, and civil society actors across the U.S. to transition to carbon-neutral energy systems. I am so proud of our work as the City of Tempe takes action on policies, goals, and programs that will create a healthy environment for all of us and for future generations.
One thing I'd like to start with is stories really bring us together. They allow us to have shared collective experiences of the world around us. They make us feel like we belong to a community so much bigger than ourselves. The greatest stories I hear from my family, and the one thing that they have in common, is the connection to other people. It's a story that my dad told me once, what was him and his neighbors and his brothers gathering Coke bottles. And what they do with these Coke bottles, they would sell them back to Sunrise Market in Victory Acres, and they would earn 10 cents. And with that 10 cents, they would pay to go to the Mill Avenue movie theaters and watch the weekly Western. And that was where they had so much fun, and one of his most vivid memories of this community. And we've all heard these types of stories. But what are they really about? They are about people, connections, and relationships. They are about us and our time together. As we celebrate our 150th anniversary, it is important to take the time to learn, grow, and celebrate the people and the connections that have led us to where we are today. It is equally important to reflect on decisions that we make today that will tell our story in the future. It is also important to support the businesses and organizations that you want to see last for generations to come. You heard from Councilmember Garland and Councilmember Kuby the ways in which the city is shaping the physical determinants of health. But economic and social factors are just as important. Some of the most important characters in our stories are our local businesses. To me, economic development isn't just about bringing jobs and payroll balance sheets to our city. It's really about bringing companies, organizations, and people that want to be a part of this community and want to be a part of our story.
Small businesses make up the heart of our community, so there is no doubt if they are healthy, we are healthy. Our locally owned shops and restaurants are made by us for us. They employ our residents and provide support for our nonprofits and kids' athletic teams. Small businesses bolster local economies by keeping money close to home. They activate the immense talent that we have right here in Tempe. They add culture, diversity, and flavor. I mean, come on. Life would be a lot less flavorful without a latte from Gold Bar, a Backy's bagel, or burrito from Casa Reynoso. Even during the worst of the pandemic, our businesses showed their resilience. In order to survive, they had to innovate. They found new ways to provide their service, or they invented new services altogether. They invested in protective health infrastructure to ensure safety for their employees and customers. We are getting close to resuming life as normal, but local businesses still need our support. Throughout the pandemic, we listened to businesses to discover what support they needed. As a result, we gave away more than $1 million in small business grants. We hand-delivered masks, hand sanitizer to our businesses, and our Shop Local marketing campaign featured more than 200 businesses. And hiring is a national problem right now, and Tempe is no exception. This January, we will be hosting the Tempe Job Blizzard in hopes of pairing up more candidates with companies. Of course, we aren't doing this alone. The help we have received from our community partners has made all the difference. Downtown Tempe Authority, Tempe Chamber of Commerce, and Tempe Tourism. We also worked with Local First Arizona, Rail CDC, the State of Arizona, SCORE, LISP, and the Maricopa Small Business Development Center, along with so many others. On Mill Avenue, 20 new businesses have recently opened or are coming soon. Places like Foch Cafe and Bistro, Slanging Birds, and Flagship Barber. It's pretty amazing that more than 65% of the businesses in downtown Tempe are locally owned. South of Mill Avenue, Boondocks opened where Pranksters Bar and Grill used to be. Boondocks will be a favorite soon enough, with its open environment and a huge patio where they play live music from both local and national bands. I want to give a shout out to the brothers Jake and Luke Corey for bringing their concept to Tempe. It really fits our community vibe, and I can't wait to go there and watch ASU in the bowl games. Have you all heard of the taco spot? Three cousins, Jorge, Jesus, and Noe Ruiz, opened their first restaurant 1 month before COVID-19 hit. They've done so well that they opened 2 more locations in Tempe this year. Try the birria taco and ramen soup combo, so good. Where I'm at today, Oats Overnight, is another example of imagination, innovation, and success. In just 5 years, the company has grown from an idea to a 90-person corporation where each employee earns at least $15 an hour and can have company stock. That's pretty doggone good, because Oats Overnight just made the Inc. 1000 list of fastest growing companies in America. We are so proud to have them here in Tempe, and our economic development team is helping them find a larger space to meet their needs. There's a reason this company is growing so quickly. Their spoon-free drinkable oats are delicious and convenient. If you are one of their original supporters, you get to test their new flavors with them. Some flavors even have caffeine, like Mocha Dream, Caramel Cold Brew, and Chai Latte. But don't take my word for it. Owner Brian Tate and Chief Operating Officer Vincent Comerford have brought a selection of flavors to today's event so you can try them for yourself. Brian and Vinny, thank you for being a part of Tempe community and for being here today. When you talk to somebody about their favorite local spot, you physically see them light up. Yes, small businesses help keep our economy diverse and healthy, making us more resilient to unforeseen challenges like COVID-19. But what spreadsheets don't capture is what small businesses do for our social capital, a huge contributor to a healthy community.
Councilmember Aaron Dondell Savage, I know I'll be seeing you at Boondocks every day, 4:59, getting an early start. Speaking of early starts, I'm so glad that we're back in-person events, bright and early, 7:30 in the morning. I guess 6:30 was unavailable this year. Mr. City Manager, maybe we can lock that time up for next year, because I've always felt if I'm not in full business attire before the sun comes up, I've wasted my day. It's true what Robin said, though. We hear it from our residents all the time. They want feel-good, family-friendly businesses, neighborhood businesses that they can share with their family and friends. And as many of you here know, our residents are your employees. Having a community where people want to work and want to live is a contributing factor to decision makers when expanding or launching their business here in Tempe. Whether to add space to accommodate a new home office or to build a new home altogether. Over the last 3 years, the City of Tempe has seen a record increase in the amount of building permits we have issued, and we don't see that trend changing anytime soon. This is a testament to the work we are doing to ensure your employees are getting all the amenities of a world-class city. Arts, entertainment, sports leagues, diversity, inclusion, civic engagement, all these create Tempe's culture. If your business is looking for a way to get involved in the community or have a shared experience together, please let us know, as Tempe has so much to offer. Thank you. I'm coming to you from the rooftop of the new Westin Tempe. You know, from up here, you can see practically all of our city. The Westin brand takes on the challenge of helping its community stay healthy. Travelers can get a good night's sleep, eat a nutritious meal, and have full access not only to a workout room, but they can also take a run up a mountain with an in-house trainer, or they can just stay by the pool. Weston has brought with it 2 new dining experiences, Terra Tempe Kitchen and Spirits and Sky Sill Rooftop Lounge, and a great new coffee spot, Cup of Joe Market Cafe. It's just one of the new hotels that have recently opened or are coming soon to Tempe. Best Western's luxury brand, The Vibe, will open later this winter, and just last month we broke ground on the Omni Tempe ASU Hotel Conference Center. It's just one of Tempe's largest conference spaces, able to hold 1,000 people at a time. These new hotels not only offer new rooms, they will also bring larger conferences that can help fill neighborhood hotels and attract a new market of travelers we haven't seen before. While tourism is not back to its pre-COVID levels, these hotels will be ready when it is. From where I'm standing, I can see so much of what's coming to our downtown. Near Mill Avenue and Rio Salado Parkway, 100 Mill is under construction with plans to open early next year. More than half of the 18-story office building is already leased. Amazon will occupy 3 floors and will bring 500 new jobs. Also moving into 100 Mill is Deloitte, a global consulting and accounting firm. The Tempe office will house many of Deloitte's professional practices. The 100 Mill development is a major win for the city of Tempe, as well as developers Hines and Cousins, because of the amazing restoration work that took place on the Hayden House. The Hayden House is the oldest building in the entire Salt River Valley and home to Charles Hayden, the founder of Tempe and the birthplace of Carl Hayden, a longtime Arizona senator. The building is now home to Downtown Tempe Authority, and we cannot be more thrilled about how Tempe is continuing to preserve our historic properties while adding the much-needed density. A little further west of Rio Salado Parkway is the new Carvana headquarters with 1,500 new jobs. And Watermark, across Tempe Town Lake, Align Technologies opened with 150 jobs, many of them in medical technology. You've probably heard of Align. They're the company that makes Invisalign braces. Not all of our new developments and businesses are in the downtown area. Vitalant, the company that provides blood to most of the hospitals in Arizona and Nevada, opened earlier this year on Broadway Road and 14th Street. You can stop by this location during business hours to donate blood or plasma. We're proud of Vitalant and its nearly 250 healthcare workers in our community, helping to save so many lives in our city and region. And Peloton, as Mayor Woods has discovered, has a new office right here in Tempe. About 400 new employees will work in the office in the Smith Industrial Hub near Tempe Marketplace. We have asked these companies and developers why Tempe is their location of choice. For some, it's the educated workforce. Others say that Tempe offers a lower cost of doing business with a high quality of life for its employees. We have worked hard over the years to improve the quality of life by paying attention to our neighborhood parks, by creating experiences such as Tempe Town Lake, and working to attract excellent special events and cultural opportunities. We also partner with our chamber and our schools to ensure our workforce of tomorrow is every bit as ready as our workforce of today. Just like sticking to a regular diet and exercise program, our daily work we do to improve our city pays dividends in the long run. It's not easy, it takes effort, but the rewards make it worthwhile.
Good morning, Tempe. I want to piggyback on Vice Mayor Keating's call to action. Our community has so many incredible offerings, especially when it comes to service organizations. As we know, the pandemic hit certain portions of our community harder than others. While there are many heartbreaking stories today, we want to focus on the positive vision we have for our residents. If someone in our community has hit an all-time low, the goal is for the individual to have the resources and opportunities to change their personal path to financial success. Whether that be access to financial aid, job training, or education. Here in the dental clinic at Rio Salado Dental College, students prepare to become licensed dental hygienists. The dental clinic also provides community members with quality dental services while giving students practical experience treating patients. They train on the same kinds of equipment your dentist might have in their office. Rio Salado College offers workforce certification programs in fields such as accounting, human resources management, risk management, and insurance, teacher education, app development, and nanotechnology. Last year, almost 3,000 certificates of completion were awarded to students pursuing workforce education, many through partnerships with local employers such as Cox Communications and Freedom Financial. Rio Salado College is one of our many great institutions offering individuals the ability to advance their personal well-being. Not only is Rio Salado College an excellent provider for workforce certifications, they provide programs that reach out to those who might need a little extra support. The college has established programs to help people who are incarcerated get educated, career trained, and even employed. They even have funds to help students who might drop out of school. The college has a great track record with these types of programs. For instance, about 2,000 active military and veterans use Rio Salado's Veterans Program and services. Additionally, individuals with English as their second language can enroll in courses and receive assistance to help them succeed. These programs can open doors to lifelong financial security for students and their families. They can give future generations a head start. We have heard so much about the cost of a 4-year degree at a major university. Earlier this year, Arizona passed a law that allows community colleges to offer bachelor's degrees. Maricopa Community Colleges plans to start offering these degrees in popular careers such as police and fire science, IT, healthcare, and education. This can make a huge difference. When people are not carrying large student loans, they can buy a home, care for their families, start a business, travel, and live well. Here at the City of Tempe, we are working on programs that can raise the prospects for everyone. For years, College Connect has been assisting parents and teens through the process of qualifying and registering for college. Another program, Career Ready Tempe, gives teens from lower income families paid internships at our local businesses. Participants get to experience professional work environments that they may not ever have considered before. With the help of private donors like State Farm and Silicon Valley Bank and leadership from Tempe Community Action Agency, Tempe is home to ACE's Drop-In Center at TCAA. This center is one-stop shop to obtain financial stability with access to computers, financial coaching, and employment assistance. When all of these sectors are working together for a common goal, there is no doubt that we can make a difference in providing resources for an individual and their financial stability.
It's been said before, but it's worth saying again. A healthy community considers the needs of every person, even if those needs are a hot meal, a warm shower, rental assistance, or just a friendly, caring voice on the phone. We see many municipalities across the nation expanding their offerings to meet increased demand and the human-centric needs. I'm proud of the City of Tempe. Historically, prioritizing these services, for instance, like Care 7, Crisis Response Team, has been in operation for 30 years. We are constantly reimagining how these services can be more impactful. As a Tempe council member and a member of the Phoenix Fire Department, I can tell you firsthand that the need is huge, and we'll need the city to stabilize the impact even more. It takes our nonprofits, our federal, state, and local government, healthcare workers, and yes, each of you to make a difference, to have a healthier community and the welfare of our community. Thank you. Accidents happen. People age. Even the healthiest people get sick. The community will always need emergency responders. We are fortunate to have our Tempe Police, Fire Medical Rescue, and Care 7 Crisis Response Team to assist our community in times of crisis. The Care 7 team provides 24-hour crisis intervention service as part of the 911 emergency call system. With Fire Medical Rescue, Police Department provide on-scene emotional support and follow-up to community members facing trauma. The team fully focuses on emotional practical needs of the individual and families while public safety personnel attend to law enforcement, medical emergencies, and fire suppression needs. Recently, the Tempe City Council decided to dedicate additional resources to expand this team. Tempe Fire ranks in the top 1% of all fire departments in the country. Not only does this ranking keep residents safer, it saves them money on insurance. This last year has been a time of crisis. Since the pandemic reached our city, Tempe firefighters have responded to more than 1,300 calls for people that had COVID-19 symptoms. That's 1,300 times our first responders safely risked themselves to help others during this pandemic. That's 1,300 people who got potentially life-saving treatments quickly because of the brave men and women of the Tempe Fire Department. Tempe is known for being innovative. It isn't enough for us to help when people were sick. We wanted to try to get in front of the virus. In partnership with ASU, we expanded our wastewater science program to test for COVID-19. By tracking traces of the virus in wastewater, we were able to determine where we might want to best deploy educational efforts, testing centers, vaccines, clinics, and more. This year, we were recognized as a leader in this field. We received a grant to work with the state of Arizona and the Center for Disease Control to educate other communities on how they can set up similar testing programs. Our wastewater testing work started as the response to the opioid epidemic, a crisis this nation is still fighting. This year, Tempe Fire Medical Rescue responded to 371 of these calls. In 234 of these, Narcan was administered to counter the effects of opioid overdose. Last year, Tempe police officers were given Narcan and trained on how and when to administer it. Since then, Tempe police officers used Narcan to save nearly 120 lives. Narcan isn't the only life-saving treatment offered. Officers who deploy Narcan can also call crisis counselors. They meet with the patient at the hospital to offer additional treatment. As a result, more than 100 people have received services to combat opioid addiction. As a part of the recommendation of the Public Safety Advisory Task Force, Tempe will continue to work on responding to calls of service with the resources that address the situation in a holistic fashion. Our philosophy is to meet you where you are. If you are ready for services, we are ready to help. How do we keep the community healthy? By being there when people need you the most and never giving up on them. We will continue to invest in new technology and keeping our crisis responders trained and equipped to respond to emergencies quickly, professionally, and at the highest possible level of service, because our community deserves nothing less.
So community safety is intrinsically linked to what makes a healthy community. Over the past year, 22 members of the community, along with the Tempe Police Department, Human Services Division, and the Strategic Management and Diversity Office, really came together to form the Public Safety Advisory Task Force, as Councilmember Navarro talked about. Collectively, we spent over 20 hours getting feedback and recommendations, which have allowed for the city to create a comprehensive strategic plan. We are also using an online dashboard to track our progress. We have several data-driven performance measures about public safety and human services. Our Community Safety Plan website provides a copy of our strategic plan and shows all of the steps we're taking to bring it to life. You can watch our work towards completing each step. I'm so proud of the work that has been done on this initiative by our Deputy City Manager, Rosen Chowsty, Chief of Police, Jeff Glover, Human Services Director, Naomi Farrell, and all of their teams that have worked so diligently on this. Now, while COVID case numbers are plateauing, and we're obviously starting to gather again, this pandemic isn't completely behind us yet. Supply chain delays, staffing challenges, traffic again. But in the face of real adversity, our city continues to step up to meet these challenges. We have real local and national challenges when it comes to rents and housing prices. And it's important that we never lose sight of what that means for individuals and families. We also know organizations that assist individuals facing homelessness are reporting a major surge in demand for services. Throughout the pandemic, there have been multiple forms of assistance available for renters, landlords, and homeowners through city programming. The city, for example, has distributed approximately $2 million in rental relief to more than 250 households since July of 2020. Tempe is continuing to increase the amount of temporary transitional housing so we can proactively assist our unsheltered community, set them up with permanent supportive housing, all while providing wraparound services to help with self-sufficiency. In September, the City Council approved the purchase of a hotel for this purpose. The purchase of the Roadway Inn on Apache Boulevard was made possible using $3.35 million in federal funds through the American Rescue Plan. Additionally, the city is working with Tempe Community Action Agency to identify locations where they can expand shelter capacity through the incredibly successful Interfaith and Housing Emergency Lodging Program, commonly known as IHELP. Coupling these services and these strategies with our work on creating more affordable housing is truly what is making the difference. Hometown for All, the initiative approved by the Tempe City Council in January of 2021, accelerates the growth of affordable housing through sustainable funding streams. This plan ensures that Tempe can create the next generation of affordable and workforce housing opportunities in our city. Since its inception, this program has raised over $6 million since January, far beyond what was projected. So what are we doing with these funds? Any number of actions that allows the city to establish and truly have our hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel when it comes to creating more affordable housing. We are acquiring property, doing environmental remediation of city-owned land, and partnering with affordable and workforce housing developers to really drive this initiative into the stratosphere. I'm so proud of the council's vision and willingness to work towards creative solutions. I really do look forward to seeing what Hometown for All can accomplish with a few more years under its belt. We've talked a lot about the different elements of a healthy Tempe, but I really want to bring it home by giving you all a little bit of insight into my vision of what that means for this great community. So let me tell you a little bit what a healthy Tempe means to me. A healthy Tempe to me means access to services for those in need and housing opportunities that are affordable for people of all different occupations and income levels. A healthy Tempe to me means plentiful job opportunities in a multitude of different industries. A healthy Tempe to me means having the option to walk out your front door to take public transportation to the Tempe Center for the Arts, ASU Gamage, or the Yucca Tap Room for a show. A healthy Tempe to me is enjoying the Papa K at Crepe Bar, chicken tikka masala at the Daba, hot links at Word of Mouth Grill, and the balsamic glazed bacon bison meatloaf at House of Tricks, all in the same day. A healthy Tempe is owning a home and proudly flying your pride flag out front. A healthy Tempe to me means our children enjoying one of our incredible local parks while getting an education at any one of our amazing schools. I know that we all agree that a healthy community is paramount to our community's success. So tell me, what does a healthy Tempe look like to you?
My vision of a healthy Tempe is one that puts equity front and center in all of our planning and actions. You think about the social determinants of health, whether it's housing security, transportation, shade, food access, racial justice. We have to connect all those dots to have a healthy, sustained community.
A healthy Tempe to me means we're seeing a lot of people engage in activities, they're biking, they're walking, they're talking to their neighbors. All of that interaction is positive for the community and for the community members.
A healthy community is when people feel involved and they're comfortable providing feedback and knowing when that feedback is heard. It's important to all of us that you participate in our process, and the more so that that happens, the healthier our community will be.
So a healthy Tempe is all the events that we have where people can get together and be outside and enjoy the great weather and enjoy all the fun things that we do in Tempe.
Not only it's thriving economics or thriving businesses, but making sure that the luxury to have a different line of housing, from affordability to the most high end of houses. I think Tempe offers all these things inclusive to education, from college all the way down to pre-K.
A healthy community means some different things to me. What I would love to see is our residents and our visitors and the employees that work here just to be happy and to be healthy and to be engaged and really take advantage and appreciate all the great resources that Tempe has to offer. This is a wonderful community, and I really do hope that everybody is taking care of themselves and ensuring that they're getting engaged in the community and utilizing all the amazing resources that we have right here.
So now, I'd like the mayor to join me for just a little chat. I have a few questions for you, and I'm sure everybody wants to hear the answers from you. So,
I might have a few answers. We'll see.
So starting with question number 1, small business is the backbone of our economy. They create 2/3 of new jobs and deliver 44% of the United States gross domestic product. They also drive innovation and competitiveness and are the best way to keep money circulating within the community. That said, when it comes to establishing a small business in Tempe or working to expand, they often experience a bureaucratic bottleneck and frequent overwhelming regulations that make their goals much more difficult and expensive to achieve. They often feel they are not getting the same consideration that large corporations and developers receive. How can you go about equalizing the playing field so that small business doesn't feel like a second-tier player?
So a couple of things I could say. One, our community development department internally does a fantastic job when it comes to processing permits and doing everything we can to get our small and medium-sized businesses up and running. Whether they want to start a new business, whether they want to expand an existing business, I know that team is exceptionally dedicated to making sure that they're able to survive and thrive here in our community. But of course, we're always looking at ways to streamline permitting processes, find ways to get people up and running even quicker, because we obviously recognize that time equals money. And so whatever we can do to continue to improve on what we're already doing, we're always looking at ways to create more efficiencies internally. But I know that we've got the right people at the helm, and I really trust our department when it comes to really having a heart for our small business community. And secondly, one thing I'll say, just as a little, not a total pivot, but a slight pivot from that too, I think the big thing is, and I think Councilmember Arredondo Savage talked about this a lot during the course of her video, we have to make sure that we all in this room are really supporting our small businesses. You know, it's very easy to say that we support local and we want people to shop local, but we have to make sure, especially as we're going into the holiday season, that we're finding the time to get in there and spend dollars in these local establishments. Because talking about it's one thing, posting about it on social media is one thing, but it's really walking in, patronizing those businesses, whether it's in person or online, and spending money in these small businesses that really are the backbone of what this community is all about. That's what's really going to help them continue to thrive, pay their employees, pay themselves, and provide these services and stay open for decades to come.
Thank you, Mayor, and I second that. Shop local, everyone. Holidays are coming. Please keep it local. As you know, Tempe has the distinction of being the only landlocked city in the valley, and it's also the smallest in land area. With those constraints, the city faces the challenge of accommodating both residential and business growth while retaining the character for which it has long been known. With no more land available, the only way to expand is via higher density. For more than a decade, vertical development has been concentrated in downtown. While there has been praise in some quarters for the new skyline that Tempe is creating, others have expressed concerns about transportation problems. We are now experiencing critical levels of congestion. For example, Rio Salado Parkway has 9 traffic lights in the half-mile between Mill and Rural. The intersection of University and Rural has become a bottleneck. What plans are being made to solve these ever-increasing transportation challenges?
So I think there's a few things, and it's a great question. Clearly the city is really committed to a robust multimodal transportation program. We've got the Mill Avenue Modern Streetcar, which we believe will be open in April of 2022. It would have been open already, but as we know, this little thing we call the pandemic that's really slowed down a lot of things when it comes to the supply chain. The cars are actually made in Pennsylvania, so that's kind of slowed it down a little bit. But we do believe in April 2022, we hope to deliver that to our residents. And we do believe getting more people out of just single-use automobiles and using public transportation will help to address some of the traffic issues. We're continuing also to talk about improvements in our bus rapid transit system. We're having conversations with our partner city, Mesa to the east, about a possibility of doing the same kind of streetcar extension east on Rio Salado all the way out to the Cub Stadium. So we think that might also be great. We're still very much in the early stages of having those conversations, but we think that would also help to relieve any bottlenecks. But quite honestly, one of the things that we've also learned from an innovation standpoint during the time of the pandemic is employers are beginning to offer much more flexibility when it comes to work schedules. It used to be this whole thing about we all had to be on the road at the same time every morning. and we all had to go home at the same time every night. But now we're seeing that with the technology we have, with our cell phones and iPads and laptops and everything else and constant Zoom meetings, that there still is a need for human contact, to be able to sit in a room with people and look them in the eye and look at their body language. But at the same time, staggered work schedules, people having more hybrid options, and not having everyone on the road at the same exact time during rush hour in the morning and the evening can greatly help to relieve a lot of that traffic congestion. So I think that we're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to be a sort of dense urban city, especially in our downtown corridor, the Mill Avenue district. But at the same time, I do think there are things we can do from a transportation standpoint and changing some of our habits, which will greatly alleviate some of the challenges. And I know that we've got the right team in place to get those things done, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the continued evolution here at the City of Tempe.
Great, thank you. This year, Tempe is celebrating 150 years. In fact, the celebration is this Sunday, Tempe Town Lake. Please come out and join everybody to celebrate. In just a century and a half, we've moved from a small agrarian community to a thriving educational, business, and residential center of more than 200,000. Accommodating the growth has come at the expense of much of our history. For example, less than 0.01% of pre-World War II homes still remain in our city. Development puts historic properties at risk. What are you in the city doing to assure the precious few remaining historic resources will be here to convey the important story of Tempe's past for future generations to see, to enjoy, and to learn from?
So first point of that, I want to just say about the sesquicentennial, which is our 150th anniversary. And sometimes I say sesquicentennial just to brag that I can say it that quickly. So it is kind of a flex.
That's true. That's true. I changed that, so I didn't have to say that word.
So I was going to say where is Vic Linoff? I want to make this commitment very publicly. Vic, can you come and show this tie? Come. So Vic has.
With all due respect, Mr. Mayor, we were hoping that you would wear the tie today.
So this is me in public making the commitment that tonight at the Legends event I'm going to be going to, and for the rest of the weekend, I'm going to be wearing the same exact tie that Vic has on right now. I am making a public commitment. So with that, about historic properties, there are a number of things. One, when I think about what's going on currently at 100 Mill, where you've got the Hayden House, which was the longest continuously running place in the city of Tempe, which was the home of the old Monty's restaurant, which is now home to the Downtown Tempe Authority, our business improvement district. I was on the council when we actually approved that deal to have that home redeveloped with the office that's currently going up around it. And at that point, the council offered a tax abatement to the developer. But the tax abatement was contingent upon them completely protecting every single square inch of that home. And the council said point blank, if any piece of this home gets damaged while you're doing the construction, you will lose the entire tax abatement. And so those are the kinds of protections we had to put. Now granted, Cousins Properties developed it. They did a great job. They're an incredible partner for the city of Tempe, and they've developed hundreds of millions of dollars of commercial real estate in our downtown and throughout the city of Tempe. But that was one of the things we put in there to let our residents know, our Historic Preservation Commission, the Tempe Historic Preservation Foundation know that we were really seriously committed to preserving our historic sites and buildings. We recently approved a deal with Red Development for the train depot, which was the old Macayo's restaurant. Same exact thing. We offered a tax abatement to the developer for the purpose of preserving the historic train depot on that site. And so they're going to be developing a new 17-story mixed-use complex over there, complete with lots of office. But you're also going to still see the train station over there as part of the overall development, therefore preserving it. And I should also mention as well, we just yesterday had a request for proposals, RFP closed for development of the Hayden Flour Mill, which is also very exciting. It's the most iconic structure in the entire city of Tempe. And we really, this time, there's been several proposals in the past that have been tried and haven't exactly gone through for that site. The last one was actually my second or third to last meeting in 2016 before I left the city council that we approved. And it didn't come to fruition. And I think part of it was, quite honestly, this is just my own assessment, that it was a little bit too big and too ambitious of a proposal. That what we should be doing actually is looking to preserve the historical integrity and the beauty of that site and finding ways to activate it for what are 2021 and 2022 uses. So the proposal we put out talked about how can we put local food and beverage concepts here? How can we incubate small and medium-sized businesses at different sort of points in their life cycle? How can we turn this into an event space, perhaps using the roof of the mill or the grassy space out front for people to host special events, weddings, and all types of community gatherings, and just gathering space? And also doing that in mind with the land acknowledgement statement that the council also passed in January of 2021, recognizing that these are indigenous lands that we currently sit on, and making sure that whatever we do is working in concert with our 4 southern tribes and our partners and our Historic Preservation Commission and Historic Preservation Foundation to make sure that everything we do truly is respectful of the historic integrity of the site, but also the fact that we sit on indigenous land. So we are excited to see what these proposals will look like. I haven't seen them, obviously, since the RFP just closed yesterday at close of business, but we really hope that this proposal, while it might look like it's a much smaller scale one, gives it a greater opportunity to succeed, but also preserves something that is really key to the city's history.
Thank you. And last, but certainly not least, what is one of the most challenging things about your job as our mayor?
Okay, this might be a little controversial because I always like to, stir the pot a little bit. One of the tough things, and I'm sure that the staff will be right there with me when I make this comment, really is public input. We really, in Tempe, value the public input process, multiple neighborhood meetings for economic development projects. When we do different things to streets or want to provide different transportation options, we really do an incredible job of reaching out to our community and offering multiple opportunities to provide feedback and input, either in person or frankly even virtually through our Tempe Forum. We're now, even at our city council meetings, now that we're going back to in-person meetings, we just had our third, so only my third meeting in person in the 17 months that I've been mayor. But we are offering people an opportunity to still participate in a hybrid fashion. For those people who want to come and sit in the audience and pull a paper comment card and speak, we're allowing that. But for people who still aren't comfortable coming back to in-person events, we're allowing them to still speak through a computer and still offer public comment on items that are important to them. The challenge, I think, with that, though, and just being totally honest and candid here, since we're all friends, like 500 of my closest friends here, is that the public comment process really is critical to what we're attempting to do in the city of Tempe and making sure the decisions we make are informed by our business community and by our longtime residents. But also, it sometimes slows things down a little bit because the reality is when you have to take more input and you really do value the input you get, it means that you have to slow the timeline down a little. And so that's one of the things that I would definitely, plead to everybody for publicly is, if you think things aren't going always as fast as you would like, it really is because the city council and the city staff really do truly care about getting input from residents and the business community to make sure our decisions aren't just informed by 7 elected people, but that we're really hearing your voice and getting that feedback and that input, because that makes for better decision making, but it does mean the decision making might take a little bit more time to make sure that we get it right. We're less concerned about speed and more concerned about getting it right at the end of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Okay, and now I'd like to introduce Nathan Comerford, Director of Strategic Brand Communications for our Platinum sponsor, BD. Please join me on the stage for a few words.
I work for BD. My job at BD is actually telling our story every day, and I think a big part of our story is now here in Tempe. So we have our new building that's in the Idea Park, right on Tempe Lake. We have hundreds of people that are part of a company that's 70,000 people strong that are working on fighting cancer, dialysis, helping patients who are on dialysis, and also helping people with vascular disease. So there's a huge group of people there that are working every day to help in the community. During COVID-19, I think that it was a super big honor to actually be part of a huge task force working on rapid testing, vaccines. We delivered, I think, 1 billion vaccines around the world, which is pretty crazy. And those people, thank you. Those people that are working on that are right here in Tempe as well. And so we love being part of the community, and we love supporting these kind of events. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Woods, council members, the City of Tempe, the mayor's staff, and the Tempe Chamber team who have worked diligently to make this event a success. It is truly a collaborative effort, and we are grateful to have such wonderful partners in you. Finally, thank all of you for being here. Your presence today shows your support and commitment towards helping to shape our great city of Tempe. We'll see you next year. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.